At the year-end conference, Prime Minister Rama announced that the justice reform bodies will be established with or without assistance from the opposition. The country saw economic growth in the third quarter of this year at a rate of 3.55% according to Instat, compared to 4.06% growth in the second quarter. The City Hall distributed packages with food and gifts for children and those in need, with the Mayor speaking from Brigitte encouraging continued solidarity. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, the 29th of December 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. In case the opposition chooses not to participate in the establishment of the new justice bodies, Prime Minister Rama has declared that the majority will not put the process on hold. Instead, they will elect candidates to the open positions using only the majority's votes. At the year-end conference with journalists, the head of the government said that he himself is not afraid of justice. Though, he added, a forest without pigs does not exist, implying that representatives of the Socialist Party may fall once the net of justice reform is truly cast. We will establish the justice bodies with or without the assistance of the opposition, said Rama. Rama sees the opposition's action as a game with fire and as an attempt to block the opening of Albania's negotiations with the European Union. The opposition is playing with fire, actively working against opening negotiations for accession into the EU, said Rama. To elect the new chief prosecutor, Rama confirmed that he had called the Democratic Party chairman, Lulzim Basha, but did not receive any response. I called Basha to discuss the chief prosecutor. He did not answer, said Rama. According to the head of the government, Albania voted fairly in regards to the UN resolution on Jerusalem. Rama declared the attempt to claim it as a vote against the US by the opposition members and by the President of the Republic, Ilir Meta, to be simply ridiculous. The vote at the UN became subject to nonsense, a ridiculous situation that embroiled even the President, said Rama. The Prime Minister determined the negotiations with Greece to be very important and historic because, according to him, they will achieve the removal of the law on war. Negotiations with Greece are historic. We will remove the war law, said Rama. Rama spoke ironically of the SMI chair, Monika Gruevski, making humorous references to her resemblance to other Albanian characters and personalities. From Kavaya, Lulzim Basha gave the message that the opposition has determined 2018 as the year they will reunite the Albanian people with a majority government in order to liberate Albania from crime. The opposition leader said that the Prime Minister is seeking to hold power by destroying the free vote and the path to justice reform. According to him, this is also the reason why he violated the Constitution to appoint a chief prosecutor under his control. Rama is destroying the justice reform, said Lulzim Basha. He went on to equate the Rama government to the biggest evil Albania has had to endure over the past 27 years. Rama is the country's biggest evil in 27 years, said Lulzim Basha. Basha said these are sufficient facts for Albanians to join the protests aimed at removing what he refers to as the crime alliance from the government. The DP chair maintains that Rama intends not only to allow free elections and demands accountability for his failures and corruption. The leader of the Democratic Party called on Albanians to join opposition protests to show that the only way to defeat crime in government and to secure the future of their families is to rise against evil and protect the country's dignity. For Monika Gruevski, oil company owners not only do not respect the oil workers, but have also become a slot in the mafia wallets which abuse the work code to the detriment of employees. In support of the oil workers, the SMI chairwoman said during a meeting in Skopje that the leaders of these companies are oligarchs that respect neither their obligations to the state nor to their employees. Owners of oil companies avoid taxes, said Monika Gruevski. Gruevski chose to start her tour of meetings from Skopje. Although her husband, the current president, is from Skopje, this has not prevented her from giving open critiques. And one of Ilir Meta's mistakes, according to her, was the fact that he supported Rama to become Prime Minister of Albania. Rama called for the support of residents for anti-criminalisation action in future elections, while it has been learned that these actions are scheduled to begin on January 2nd. The Albanian economy had a smaller increase during the July-September period compared to the second quarter of this year. Instat Director Delina Ibrahimaj stated that the economic growth has reached the level of 3.55%, with the main contribution coming from the tourism sector, followed by trade and transport. The slowdown of economic progress in the second half of the year was also forecast by the Bank of Albania. Over the past 9 months, Albania's economic growth has been 3.87%. The trade sector and tourism have positively impacted on growth, said Delina Ibrahimaj. The main negative impact on economic growth resulted from the energy industry, which suffered a downturn due to the drought during the summer, affecting energy exports as well as the real estate sector. The energy industry and real estate made a negative impact on the growth of the economy, said Ibrahimaj. During the summer months, Instat determines that consumption has also increased by about 3.25%. The new year in the capital will also be celebrated by those families who do not have a viable income. The administration of the municipality has already started distributing packages with food as well as gifts for the children. In the administrative unit in Birgjit, the mayor of Tirana, Erion Veliaj, said that the solidarity shown on these holiday days must continue throughout the year to help anyone in need of support during difficult moments. I thank all the benefactors who, not only here in Birgjita, but in all the territory of Tirana, have helped the municipality, caring for families in need, and just like today, distributing food packages and gifts for children. We have had such solidarity in every corner of Tirana. I would like this initiative to continue throughout the year. Who has two can give one. Who has the possibility to have a New Year's meal has the possibility also to donate it. Who today has a chance more than another person can take the opportunity to help, said Erion Veliaj. The mayor called on all citizens, but also to various businesses, to offer donations on these days of holidays. We need solidarity in these days. I know this is a city with many residents. Every day we grow with people coming from all corners of Albania. And of course, there will always be problems with people in need. But I also believe that a city that has 1 million inhabitants, which produces half the country's economy, should have the opportunity to give half of this charity and display half of the country's solidarity. I want to invite all those members of the community who have these opportunities to do this at any time of the year, said Erion Veliaj. Based on the experience of the previous year, when an emergency situation arose as a result of extremely low temperatures, Veliaj demanded for greater care for the elderly. There are many elderly people whose children have emigrated and who have forgotten to call or simply lost interest in them. I remember at the beginning of last year, when the big frost started, one of the main problems we had were the elderly living alone. Humanism must characterise a city like it characterises a family. Technology does its job, but nothing replaces the human connection that each one of us should have the pleasure to enjoy, said Erion Veliaj. The mayor underlined that we should all think about the families in need to become the community that we are all trying to develop. That's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.